Okay, thank you.
YouTube page, it will. Silent. Once it goes to recording it, nope, I don't want that on there.
Mona Lisa, we lost sound on our end.
Are you sure it just wasn't us being quiet?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I said we're recording now, everyone was like, shh.
It's kind of like when someone sits real still on a Zoom call.
Yeah. No, and can you hear us okay? Are we loud enough?
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. Well, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to turn it over to Tracy.
Good morning, welcome everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Glad everybody's here. So for those of you who are attending for the first time, the Center for Women Entrepreneurs was funded in 2017 by the state legislature just to help promote women entrepreneurs anywhere in the state of Texas. You do not have to be affiliated with TWU to use our services. We are part of the larger Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership at the university. They're dedicated to preparing more women to take on successful roles in business and public service. Our three specialized centers, our Center for Women Entrepreneurs, Center for Student Leadership, and Center for Women in Politics and Public Policy, are all provide women with the education to establish executive level careers, skills for building entrepreneurial businesses, and the framework needed to run for public office. We have our staff with us today. Donna-Lisa Stinyard is here in person. We have Kimberly Nielsen online. She is our online hostess today. And then we also have our newest team member, Christina Mortel. She is our small business advisor. So we're so happy to have all of them here with us. We have Barbara Renke online as well, and she's monitoring Facebook. So we always like to know who is in the room. So we'll go around if you want to just quickly introduce yourself and your business. And you want me to ask as part of this?
Yeah, so as I would like to add in what you're really looking to gain from the conversation today, or what your biggest concern, fear, obstacle is with negotiating.
Sure. Do you want to start?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brianne Martin. I'm the people engineer for BCM Engineered Solutions. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. And I guess I'm currently in the customer acquisition phase, kind of prototype my services and now ready to go and put my hand out and get money for it. And I think like my biggest focus today is, again, how do I learn to negotiate as I start sending proposals and hopefully getting a lot of those money conversations going. So thank you.
Cindy, want me to go?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cindy Turk. I own CM Promotions. We are a wedding planning company throughout DFW. And we do consult calls all the time. So I'm curious to know how to get them from your like smaller to middle package to the highest price package without sounding salesy. If that's possible, right?
Yeah. The second one.
All right, hello everybody. Good morning. I'm Madison Sly. I'm a student here and I'm majoring in entrepreneurship. And I'm here today just to learn as much as I can and network and get to know y'all and hear your stories and hopefully learn from you. And I have a lot of business ideas, so if you want to talk about them, I'll be happy to share, but there's probably too many to tell right now. But nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Hannah Polk-Lawson. I'm the owner of Well Culture Counseling. And my question for negotiation today is how to renegotiate contracts that were negotiated like or pre-inflation. And so that would be like, would be really cool if I could learn that today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Talif. I'm the owner of Talif Nurse Consultants. I'm a certified legal nurse consultant and a nursing professor here at TW. And I'm just interested in learning more about negotiation in general, should that ever come up with my attorney clients. But so far I haven't had anything really bad happen. I just want to be prepared. And I'm sure that might help with working with nursing students as well sometimes. So it's all good.
Hi, I'm Joyce Whitaker. I'm here with Lasso, the on-campus newspaper. So I'm just kind of here to sit in, listen to what the seminar is about, and maybe get your thoughts after if you want to come talk to me. So nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Anne Morgeson. I am a certified health coach, and my ministry is empowering individuals to reclaim their health, reclaim their healthy BMI, and keep it off for life. And that's all that I do here in Benton and all over Texas. I would like to learn about skills negotiating a win-win way.
I'm Hannah McGinty. I'm the owner of Intimate Photo and Modern Memoir Wedding Films. So we own a production company for event photo and videography and live stream coming soon. So like in-house, like it used to be like we have to contract people, but now we have to in-house, which is cool. So for negotiating, yeah, upselling to the next package would be great. Like that's always like they're like, now we want this, but this is better. Are you sure? So that is it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessica DeLeon. I hope to launch a website about time management later this year. My question is how to keep your emotions in check while negotiating. Thank you.
Hi, I'm May Jimenez. I'm a business major here at Texas Women's. I've been very interested on how the process of negotiation is, so I'm looking forward to it.
Great, well, that would be a lot for you to go on.
Yeah.
If any of you online want to put that in there as well, what you would like to learn about negotiating, feel free to put that in there. And I see that everybody is putting their businesses in there as well. Okay, well, I'm so excited to introduce our speaker for today. Johanna Baum, CPA, CISA, is the founder and CEO of Strategic Security Systems, S3, a professional services firm specializing in cybersecurity. Johanna is a recognized expert and active influencer in the cyber community. She serves on the advisory board for the University of Tennessee, Knoxville Accounting, InfoSys Department, several technology vendor advisory boards, ambassador mentor for SPJ Capital, and a mentor for multiple entrepreneur and women in leadership organizations. Johanna is the mother of 3 young children and earned both BS and MS degrees in accounting from UTK. So welcome, Johanna.
Yeah. I can move it. It's always out of body to hear about your own resume. I'm not a big fan.
Yes,
Right,
it can see you right there.
Okay,
I'm gonna
thank
pin
you. I'll
you.
just stand. So thank you for not only intros, but really what you're looking to get out of this. And I feel bad because the first question was about where my slides were, and I don't have any. And I typically don't go from a deck at all. I'd much prefer for this to be a dialogue. This is a topic that you will deal with every day. So to say like, I don't really know how, no, you definitely know how to negotiate every day, whether it's where I'm going to lunch or negotiating with yourself. There is a conversation here every day that you're using these skills, getting better and recognizing where you need to get better and improve your skills, I think is the biggest learning that you can take from this. But I want it to be interactive. I really want you guys to ask questions. I'm sure everybody can see me, but I want you to ask those questions because this is how you learn. It's not just the stories, but the things that you're encountering that I can perhaps help with. Oddly, I'm in cyber, but I have a lot of health clients. We have a lot of health clients. So I think we got a couple that are in either healthcare or healthy living. I can definitely talk to a little bit of that. I hate to speak on behalf of attorneys, but I deal with a lot of them. So I would definitely talk about that too. So the meat of this topic is really, and I said nasty negotiations, that's really where your head goes. It's like, this is awful, like sweating, I don't want to be here, I'm nervous, my voice is shaking, nothing's gonna go well.
Baby, got like them? Yeah, it's still raining.
Better?
Yes.
So it's I'm in a high pressure situation, I don't want to go into this. That's typically where your head goes when we talk about negotiating. And that is, okay, now I'm in my worst case nightmare. I'm nervous. And they always say fear is a liar. It's absolutely accurate in that setting. So the only thing I can say for being in that pressure cooker is, how do I recreate that environment and practice being uncomfortable? The conversation that you're talking about, okay, how do I upsell? Nobody really wants to be on the other end of that, because you don't want to talk about, nobody wants to talk about money. Nobody wants to try to be the used car salesman kind of pushing for an upsell. But you can delicately, by making it more of a relationship conversation and talking about the benefits there. So one of the things I've always asked, and this is, I have 3 children, every day is a negotiation. If I can get it, and I don't even have toddlers anymore, if you can get a toddler dressed, you're winning. That's just, so the skills start there, but what's the currency of the other person that you're talking to? Because they have one, and that currency will change. And it's not always money, it's what they're willing to bargain with. What their most important thing is, what they value the most as part of the conversation. That's what you're looking for. What is the other person's currency? And again, that will continue to change, but how do you operate with that mindset? The win-win that I know someone mentioned, how do I walk out feeling like everyone's a winner? That's where you get it. Because you feel good about what you've been able to negotiate, and the other person has the currency that they need. So again, like the easy one is, I say easy, but if it's, party planning, a wedding package, what is the most important thing to them, and where in that package can you start to pick that? Yeah, I know you told me that the video was really important to you, and we looked at this package, but if we look at this next one, this will be lifelong memories for you. You'll be able to take a look at this, in 3 different mediums. I can give it to you. Talking in their currency, the thing that you heard that they valued the most when you first started typing, that's, and I hate to take a hook, that's the hook that you got. That's where you're adding value to the conversation. They want to now look at that package. Well, how is that different from the other one that you just talked to me about? So just level setting there, you've opened the door for a conversation they weren't ready to have when they first got on the phone. Does that make sense? I think it's for both of you over here that we're kind of party and wedding. So I'm going to switch to, I want to keep pulling that thread of currency and fear at the same time. Every person that you're negotiating with, again, has that currency. You may be able to pull it out before you even start negotiating, just by an introductory conversation. What are we here to talk about? What are we negotiating? Is it salary? Is it a package? Am I selling? Is it somebody getting information from me that I don't want to give, like a deposition? We can go into part later for attorney conversation, but it's, how can I at least enter into what are you interested in getting out of this? For you, where are your boundaries? You have to figure out where that lane is. What am I willing to give up, and what do I want? Not knowing where that entry point and exit is for you, you will never be successful, and you'll definitely get rid of things that you didn't want to get rid of. If my most important thing was I need more time at home and I'm negotiating a salary and I just got double my salary, but twice as much work, I walked out with money and a complete loss for the one goal that I had. It's the same thing for the other parties that are in the room. What are we trying to get them to? Again, if I'm walking them to some boundary, have I gotten them close to it? Do I know what it even is? Do I know that they're driven by money or by time or by, I really need, my happiness factor has to be high when I walk out of here because this is an emotional decision. Then put them there. Where do they need to be to
for you to get to your yes. Learning those boundaries is huge for yourself, for the other party. And for me, anytime I go into this, the earlier that I can find out information about the other party, I'm doing it. I'm Googling, I'm Facebooking, I'm looking at Instagram. Any piece of information anywhere, articles that I can find about that person, I'm on it. Do they have friends that I know, colleagues, anything? I mean, and that's probably because it's my job and I get a little, yeah, okay. Maybe I get a little too into it because we're just in cyber, but any information is good information. It helps you prepare, get more comfortable about who's on the other side of the table. You might know where their limits are, but you definitely know their drivers. You start to get their personality. You start to understand a little bit more about them. And the more that you can do that, the better that this conversation goes and the less fear, angsty, nervous, I'm sweating, my voice is speeding up, the less that you get into that uncomfortable space. Does that make sense? I see nods, but nobody looks at that pre-conversation to figure out how can I learn the most information that I can about this party. And it's huge, huge for you to be able to walk in and be successful. That boundary piece, just ask, what do you want? Nobody, we just talked about it. Nobody asked that question. Again, whether it's salaries, whether it's health, whether it's purchasing, what do you want from me? We're here negotiating for something. What do you want? Not just you, but everybody. I don't know why that's such a fearful question, but they could easily answer it and your negotiation is over. Like, I was willing to give that. That's what you want. Everybody's happy. I might even give you more because I think you're worth more than what you asked for. But meeting them where they need to be, that for some reason, that conversation is very difficult for this crew. I don't know why. Does anybody find that to be like just having that confrontational question of what do you want? Do you feel comfortable asking about that? Yes. No. Yes.
Yes, I feel very comfortable asking. 100%.
Yeah. Why did you say no?
I think my fear response acts up, and what if I can't give them that? Then the conversation is over, which that's unlikely, but it feels that way. Like, I think that's the fear coming up for me.
Yeah, it is. You feel like you're in a box you can't get out of. Anybody else that would say no?
Something that works, are we allowed to offer anything? Okay, so
Of course.
something that works for me, and I'm a wedding planner, so I do consults all the time. And I say, before we end the call, like at some point, like tell me what you're looking for in your dream wedding planner. What qualities do you want? And then I'll be able to know, for me, that helps me to know who to pair them with on my team. But if you're looking for someone that's available 24/7, that's gonna meet, like, you know, text you all that, no, you're not our client. But if you're someone that's like, hey, I really want, you mentioned what do they value? I want the day to be enjoyable. I want to be able to soak up time with my family and I don't want to have to worry about the details. Perfect. I'm very confident we can help you with that, right? Like, so take whatever it is that you do and say, what are you looking for in your dream newspaper columnist, your dream videographer? Like, what does that look like for you? That's, for me, an easier way to say it than like, what do you value on your wedding day? Because they don't know. They've never, at least for my industry, they've never done it before.
And I can tell you, it's very rare that I've gone into a conversation and I've asked, what do you need? What do you value? What do you want? What's your current, if I'm asking those questions and wholesale, I've said, I can't do any of those things. I'm out. You know, I'm trying to now go through a million of these scenarios and that has, I can't recall when that has ever happened because there's something in there I can do that's either close or you gave me something that's so preposterous that no one could give it to you. Right? Well, come on, that's ridiculous. What do you actually do? So you can work around it, but now you have a better frame of reference for, all right, what am I getting into? And again, just that information tells you, all right, is this person workable? Can I even negotiate with this person? Am I capable of having a good conversation or do I now need a buffer? Like we need to bring a third party in because I can't just talk to you directly. I need somebody else, which is always a good idea. Yeah. Always always.
And I wanted to add similarly, I think when you mentioned fear, I think that's the biggest thing of. One, like knowing that like you're not everyone's cup of tea. And so even if like they're not your thing, I think having the network of other people, you're like, you know, again, I can't offer 24-hour service, but I know a great person who does that. Like, let me refer you. Because everyone in this room likes to have the idea of starting a business because we like to solve problems, right? We enjoy being that level of support or help for someone. And so sometimes the best thing for yourself, for your business, for your sanity, like this is not a client that I'm excited about. So like, let me find someone who is more fitted to what you're looking for. And similarly, I think when we were talking about like upcharging, it's the same situation, like understanding that, you know, you have the highest price in their mind psychologically. I love the homework, right? Do as much as you can. Like people say, oh, that's the highest price. Like I don't feel comfortable spending that. But even in the entrepreneurial world, we can make up kind of almost a pretend package that's only a few $100s, even a couple thousand higher. And you're never really wanting anybody to buy that, but because that's the highest, they're like, oh, I'll get the second highest. And that's really your offer. But I think again, when you're working with, and I love that, like pay attention to the person you're selling to because they have their own fears or their own preconceived notions or limiting beliefs. And so whenever you're offering them services, like for me in particular, I have kind of like a menu and I'm like, here's all the things I do. Like based on our conversations, listening to what you want, then I go through and circle, oh, well, you mentioned this and this is what, you know, I can solve this by doing this and this. If you're looking for more long-term support, this is on this side of the table, blah, blah, blah. But I think again, as you love that, people really like the customization, like they feel like you created it just for them. And even if it is a package in your mind on the back end and you're just thinking 1, 2, or 3, like being able to have them create it for you and then say like, look, this is just for you. This is your present. Now it feels a lot more unique and a lot more special. That's where I think, again, kind of facing that fear is you're going in with, again, like, this may not be it, but like, I'm here to help them realize what they do or do not want and whether or not we're a good fit. I always love the analogy of like dating, right? Like if you're a homebody and I don't know, find me, we can be friends all we want, but if you're not going to like you have to home. So like, I think that's the type of stuff too, is just, again, coming from a rather a place of fear, but knowing of abundance. Like there's other people that enjoy being couch sitters. There's other people that enjoy rock climbing. We just got to help find alignment with the two.
Yeah, and the saying no, there's about 65 things I could say. That's amazing. So saying no is, you don't have to enter into this conversation thinking I have to get a yes at the end. You don't have to be there either. Maybe this isn't your client because you want to rock climb and they want to sit at home. I'm out. Like saying no is perfectly acceptable because now that you're starting to get more information, we call it dirty money. I don't need that money because it will drag you down, everyone around you down, your team down. It'll drag them down too, because you're all doing things you don't want to do. So I got to a yes, and I got it in the worst way. And that's exactly how I'm going to get it, in the worst way. Now I've got to deal with somebody I don't want to deal with. I gave concessions where I didn't want to. Now I'm sitting at home and I want to be climbing rocks. Like none of this is where you want to be. So don't go into it every time thinking I have to get to that yes. You don't. So no, and I will say this is the entrepreneurial side of my head. In the beginning, you're saying yes a lot because you have to. You're in with clients you don't necessarily want to be with. You're taking the money because you got to keep things going. I get it. There's going to be a point where you're like, I don't want, this is not how I want to be in this. I need to start carving these people out. So sitting down and renegotiating, hey, you know what? Because I think that's what you asked, correct? Mm-hmm. So we had this contract a long time ago. It was really when rates were here. By the way, costs are way up. The industry as a whole has moved up. We're really going to have to come back to the table and talk about how we can make this more amenable for both of us. And if the answer is we can't, it's been great. I really appreciate what we've done so far. You know, let me help you. I found a couple of people that I can introduce you to that may be able to do some of the, same things, but we're going to have to part ways here. There is nothing wrong with that conversation.
Okay.
Not a thing. No. And if they get indignant and we're not, okay, that's fine. We will happily go find somebody else for our services, or we're happy to introduce you to somebody, whatever. Either way is, whether it's you're the recipient, you're delivering, doesn't matter. I mean, it could be for rent, doesn't matter. Any of those things can be negotiated and you can renegotiate when you need. That sounds crazy, but I'll say it again, literally down to your rent. Anything can be renegotiated. We've signed things. I signed paperwork with the government last week. This week we said, we don't like the terms of that. We're going to need to go back. They said, you can't do that, but we just did. Because you said something now I see that you're leading us down a path we're not okay going in. So we're gonna change that. We need an amendment. Or you can find somebody else to do it. Like either one is fine with us.
Glad you shared that example, because mine's with the federal government, and I'm like, I don't think that they're gonna budge.
We didn't back that recording.
You did say recording and
Yeah, no, I mean, it is absolutely possible. It can happen. You should do it. If you're uncomfortable, absolutely do it. That's when you need to make sure that you're comfortable with where your limit is again and say, look, I passed. Whatever happened in the last week, month, year, I'm not comfortable with where we are. And that's perfectly fine. And they can say no, and so can you. Well, I have the right here because I can back out whenever I want. I'm giving you my notice. I can do it the day I signed it. I can give you my notice. So it's a contract, but there's always a way out.
I think as business owners too, we have to like keep in mind like a struggle that we're having this year is like just increasing our profitability for everything. It's weddings get booked so far in advance, and inflation and everything goes up.
Costs are ridiculous.
But which is fine, but like I don't feel guilty. I mean, I can't change the price halfway through the planning process. I'm not gonna do that, but like we've just steadily been raising them. It's not worthwhile for me to leave my husband and my family on a Saturday to make what I made 3 years ago. Like you mentioned at the beginning, like at the beginning of our business or my business, I said yes to every, like I was like, oh, yeah, we have a custom package for that. Yes, we have a custom package for you.
Yeah.
I think yes, everything. I know.
Because you
Love it, you learn.
yeah, we did the same, you have to in the beginning. I mean, you need to keep the lights on.
Yes.
You're trying to get the train moving. So,
Yes.
and then you're like, wait, I don't want to say yes to this anymore.
Yeah.
It is that, I will say, oh, sorry.
Sorry, we had a couple of online comments I wanted to share. So one, Christina talked about sharing, selling value and not price.
Yes.
Selling your value. And then Terry just wrote, it's okay to reopen it, or it is okay to reopen negotiations if things pivot and my comfort level fluctuates. Things change. This is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, your expectations for that relationship may have changed. How the other person is acting once you're in the middle of delivering something may change. Like, look, I don't like the way that you're behaving. I've changed how I'm viewing this relationship. And I mean, again, anybody who owns a business, that has absolutely happened. It will happen. If it hasn't yet, it's coming. Because people just change, prices change, relationships change. I mean, I had one the other day that I completely blundered. My fault. Very good relationship, long-standing. The text that I got was, I know out of all the people I know, you wouldn't have done that to me. I did. Complete accident, wasn't, I mean, it just happened. I immediately picked up the phone and said, you're right. One, I'm sorry. That shouldn't have happened. It needed to come from me. It didn't. That's my fault. This is what I'm going to do to fix it. We will never be here again. If you need me to go back and change a contract because this is my fault, I understand. So luckily, I mean, because we have a personal relationship, I could have that conversation, but I mean, it was an error. I made it. It changed that relationship a little bit.
So we do have an online question. Donna asked, if you had a private client for several years paying the same amount for coaching, what are some ways to start a conversation about increasing their fee?
So good. So I just had this again this week. I have a client that we've had, so we've been in business for 18 years. This client has been a client of ours for maybe 12, like long client. We haven't changed rates in over 5 years for these guys. And it's built into our contract that every year we can increase up to a certain percentage. Literally in the contract, it says rates may increase. I strongly recommend that. You can use it if you want. You can say, no, I don't need to. But I mean, you can go up to 25, whatever percentage you want to use. Look, annually, we adjust 20%. We have the right to adjust. We will alert you to that. We've never exercised it. And I said, it's 5 years. And the last 5 have been big. Like, we can't continue this. We love you. We love the relationship. We've been here forever. I literally have had 3 kids in this. We need to change the rates. So entering into it, again, it's the value. I always start with value and not just, hey, costs are increasing. Everybody's struggling for labor. Because then they're like, you're bringing me down, man. Like that's not, if you start with that value, hey, we've been delivering really well with you. I've been counseling you for a long time. You know, based on this relationship, I really want to continue to work with you. But, you know, as an average, you know, costs have really increased. therapy rates have increased. Like I wanted to start talking to you about in the next few sessions, we really need to maybe look at increasing that fee. As a new patient, all of our fees are, or all of our clients are coming in at this rate. And it is, they will absolutely understand. I mean, you know, as somebody, anybody who sees a counselor will say, I don't want to change, I'm good. Yes, I'm sure it's pretty nominal, but just starting with that, hey, look, we've been doing this for 7 years. It immediately makes them more comfortable. I mean, they're starting in their head to think about, yeah, we have done this for a while together. They're kind of retracing it in their head and they're getting more comfortable with where you're leading them. If you just drop it on them, I'm never a fan. I never send money in an email. Never, ever. I don't go, hey, here's the price. Call me after you've read it. Never do that. I don't. If you're more comfortable or your business is appropriate that way, for me, I want to talk to you. Because I just sent you $1 million quote. Nobody's going to choke that down like over a cup of coffee. We need to talk about, hey, let me walk you through what I'm sending. Or, hey, we have standard increases. I want to talk you through that so you're more comfortable with why.
We had a comment online, Mark said, yes, she does it at the beginning of the year. She has a conversation about rates going up and she's yet to get any pushback.
And people understand. I mean, I think right now in my industry, it's a little unusual because salaries are in some areas going down and costs everywhere increasing. We have kind of a weird dynamic. We're not reducing. I think our industry is getting a little nutty, so we're increasing salaries, but everybody's used to that conversation. If you get them on a cadence, not that you want to every year be like, well, we're getting hit with a rate increase again, but they're at least, this is business. They know this is how you run and you need to continue to operate your business and they need services from you. Go ahead, you had some.
I know, well, I was thinking, I don't know if I should ask, well, I guess I'll ask it. As far as, you mentioned raises, like, I'm sure most of us are small business owners, right? So like, I don't have the ability to give everyone a 10% raise every year like they would in some corporation or like their husbands are getting. So they've all come to me and asked, and my negotiated is, let's reevaluate 6 months and see what the first 2 quarters look like. I don't. So do you have any feedback or suggestions? Like I can't knock them for asking for more money. I would do the same thing. Like I'm proud of them for doing it. I am.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Yeah. The answer is just no.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that I will say again, the currency piece is big. We've had a lot, and it's hard for us too. I mean, we last year, and I've said this, I think last year was our most 18 years. Last year was our most difficult. Profitability was crap. Our expenses went up. You know, everybody was holding on to money. It was horrible. It wasn't my favorite year. So when everybody came for, hey, look, we've got our variable comp coming up. Like, what are we getting for bonuses? I'm like, we all have jobs. Like, this is not, know your audience, not the best time to talk to me about like when everybody gets raises. This is horrible. But I definitely had to reframe and then ask, hey, what's most important to everybody? Because we pay, you know, different for everybody. We pay 100% of medical, dental, vision for everybody. So does everybody still want all of their medical coverage? The answer was overwhelming. Okay, costs are increasing. I will still do that, but that means we might not be able to do bonuses. That's fine. We want medical. We want every Friday off. Not so easy for you.
Yeah.
Not at all easy for you. Every day. Yeah, like it's, I mean, okay. And really everything hits the fan on Friday. So it's not so easy for us to do either, but they've said, hey, you know what? We want to work 4 10s, not 5 8s. We want a day off. Absolutely. I'm on board. Let's do it. Hey, for maternity, I want summer, or not maternity, but parents, I love summer. I want to go to the pool. I want a longer summer off. Can we start negotiating for what summer looks like with either to reduce salary? I want my same salary, but I want a month sabbatical. Let's talk about it. So there's other things that you can give them that they want that aren't cash. Like profitability, all right, it's hard when I've got guys taking it. We bill by the hour. I need nobody taking, you know, weeks and days off. But if that's not how you fund your business, yeah, that's, hey, every Monday we're shut down. Don't call us. And tell all of your clients. We put it in, again, all of our contracts say we have resources that work 4 days a week. We will have somebody else that might pick up for you on a Friday. But if something happens, you can always reach somebody, but it might not be your core team member. because we like to give that as a benefit to our employees. So starting to offer other things like that, or Taco Tuesday, something, I mean.
I like that too.
Yeah, I mean, everybody gets excited about little things like that. So now we're not always negotiating about money. Is it time with your family? Look, I know that you guys have things on Wednesdays with your kids. How about every Wednesday we leave it in? Little things like that mean a lot to them, more than, yeah, you have a raise. It's time.
Yeah, and I will say, just because I know like some people are very motivated by money, especially if you're hurting for clients, then you could also even do a referral program and incentivize them. Hey, again, if you'll help bring in more business, the reason I can't do raises is because right now we don't have the influx of profitability like we would have hoped. So again, if you can help, I'll give you 10%.
Incentive
20%. Yeah, however many clients you can bring in, you'll get a piece of that. Then now everyone becomes your sales team as well. And then they're looking for that, because if they are motivated by money, you'll start getting a lot more referrals too. Because I agree, like I said, whatever matters to them. Some people are like, no, I just want that money in my hand. I need an extra $100 a week. Okay, well, go get us clients. Like,
We
it'll be
have-
good for everybody.
And employees too. I mean, we have referral programs for employees. You bring in somebody, they stay for this long, cash, write you a check. Thank you very much. Same thing with clients. Yeah, if when, you know, they've got retained clients, add-on business, if they've got, if they bring on entirely new, yeah, that's worth, I mean, for you especially. Yeah, you bring in 3 new brides, that's worth something. So absolutely, I'd give them that all day long, because it's 3 people you wouldn't have had before. So what is the profit margin on each of them? What can you let go? Absolutely hand that over to those guys, because it's growth with people that you have employed with you already that are picking up new clients, and yeah, if they're hungry, have at it. And that's the best sales generator. So I know we've only got a couple minutes. I do want to touch on one thing, and it's really negotiating with yourself. So I talked in the beginning about kind of knowing your limits, walking in, having difficult conversations. I think knowing where you are, your comfort level, what you're willing to give, but literally your worst case scenario. And I have been in many of those, and not by my doing, but it just happens. You just end up in the pressure cooker. People asking you questions you can't answer. You're worried you can't give them things that they want. And you name it, it's too hot in the room, the sun is in my face, whatever it is, practice it. Know where your limit is. I'm not willing to give this up. I'm not willing to give my time up. I'm not willing to go past this percentage. I'm not willing to give this legal language up. Whatever it is, before you walk in that room, 100% clarity on that boundary. I am not willing to give this up, because you can work around other things that you can't. The practice, I know you don't want to do it. I really hate role playing. It's so good. I don't want to do it, but it really does work. I mean, I think my worst negotiating was in 2 separate depositions, both not in places I wanted to be, and with a whole lot of people watching, a whole lot of videos recording, all kinds of people asking me questions I didn't want to answer. The room is hot, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to respond. The first question is always the worst one, which is state your name. At that, I didn't even know what my name was at that point. I'm already nervous and I can't even remember my name. I knew I was going to lose it through this whole thing. If I just drink, I can break. I can stop the questions, I can think. I can't talk too quickly because I have literally water in my mouth. It forced me to slow down. But I practiced that for weeks. I had people peppering me with random questions that made no sense, and I had to answer very quickly because I knew I was going to have to perform. I think I drank a 6-pack of like Fresca or whatever water they had on the table. I was like, can you give me another? I never drink like bubbly water. I had a whole lot of it because I just needed something to slow the room down. In the middle, they said they needed to take a break. And everybody walked out. I thought for a break. I stared out the window. The whole team was gone. They all packed up and walked to their car. I was like, what? I thought we were just taking a break. But they said, we're not, we're done. They said, they're good. Nobody could get anything they needed. So that was it. And that was the whole goal. I achieved my goal in half the time, and I drank a whole lot of water. But it helped. I knew what my boundaries were. I knew what helped me slow down and stay calm. So knowing that limit for yourself, it doesn't matter what you're negotiating. You'll be 1,000 times better knowing mean, this is pretty easy. I know what I want. I'm trying to figure out what they want, but I know I'm not going here. So I can stay right in this little box and everybody's happy. But that, knowing that about yourself, I think is the biggest benefit that you can do for any one of these conversations. It doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're buying, you knowing what you're willing to give and what you need, and stop fighting yourself. You're your own worst enemy, and it will continue. And that fear is a liar will just keep spiraling, and you'll beat yourself up. Just stop. Know that limit, and it's so extremely helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We do have another question.
Please.
Kimberly, can you pop on and get Donna's question for us?
I sure can. I was just double checking the chat myself. Thank you so much. And Donna's question was, how would you close a conversation to increase the conversion when you've spent 30 minutes talking to them?
How would you close the conversation?
So you've been talking to somebody for 30 minutes and you're trying to convert them, like wanting them to, like, you know,
To upsell and it's not working?
whenever and it's not working, how would you close that conversation in an effort to convert them?
I mean, seeing things stall is a good time to take a break. Bathroom break. Is it a, hey, I've got another call, but I really want to continue this conversation. Do you have some time tomorrow? I mean, a break is not a bad thing. Leaving them with information so they can look at it later. Hey, I've got to jump, I have to go to the bathroom, I have to do whatever it is. I need a minute. Can we get back on the phone tomorrow? I would love to talk a little bit more about this. Hey, can I also send you some referrals of people who've done this package or who've, you know, chosen this selection that, you know, I really think it'd be great for you to hear from. You can send them videos after the fact, but a break isn't, people think that distance is bad. It's not. A break is a good thing. It gives them time to think, you can think. A pause definitely, I think, helps in negotiations when things stall like that.
Do you think that sometimes we get too eager to want to close it out? You know, like I'm just thinking about like Donna's situation. We're so eager to make that sale. And I know we talked a little bit about scarcity and abundance, you know, earlier, that we're just so eager to get that. We're afraid if we let them go, they're going to say no.
Forcing them into a decision is also not a great idea. So by you getting that, they can hear the desperation. So as you're getting more frantic because the call is ending, now they know that you'll do anything to convert them. That's not where you want to be. And again, if you get them in the worst way, that's exactly how you're going to, it's in the worst way. You don't want that.
Yeah, I have, one of the best things is I've got a storefront now, and it's a lot better than when I was home-based, just for those clients that think they can negotiate on a custom cake. I'm like, no, I haven't made your cake. Like, I don't want to make your cake. I don't need to make your cake. So you either want it at this price or you don't. And it's great because I'm like, okay, I've got a cake I'm working on. Like, you can think about it, look at the books. Let me know when you make a decision. And almost as soon as I would like turn to walk away to go back to the back, they're like, okay, fine. You know, and then they've got like another question or whatever, but they think that they're going to be able to wheel and deal with me. And I'm like, no, like, I've got stuff to do. And I can actually walk away.
Yeah, I don't.
You.
Yeah, value what you're doing too, that you can walk away. I mean, I know we talked about, okay, in the beginning, sometimes we just have to take clients to take clients, but yeah, I mean, again, they smell your fear. Like, please don't get off the phone. Now they know they have you. You don't want them there either. But if you're forcing them into buying at that point, again, it's typically that's not the best relationship.
Kimberly, or is there another question in the chat?
No, not at this time.
Okay, anybody else in here? So I have one. So you talked about like when you were first starting out, right? And you kind of in that scare, you need clients. So how do you need clients or take on these clients, but you don't let them see you be needy? You know what I mean? Like, still, how do you show value and worth to the services? Because I think sometimes as like new business owners, right, when you're out there, beating the pavement, trying to get clients, sometimes you kind of come off as needy. So how can you?
Desperate and needy.
Yeah, so how can you how can you still need, because we do need them to kind of build our credibility and stuff. How do you meet them without looking needy and,
So a peculiar one is we typically as a gender say thank you a lot. We're really appreciative, which is great. It's good to be appreciative. But those first few clients, we probably don't need to trip over ourselves for how appreciative we are, because now they know that they might be your only client. So you definitely don't want to put them in that situation where you're like, I really like, this has been huge. Thank you so much. Like, show the right level of appreciation, but then continue to deliver that value. I will say that the next one is easier because ask that one for a reference. Hey, for our continuing services, I can give you maybe a break on your bill if you might introduce me to a couple of other people so that I might be a little less needy and dependent on you. But they'll open up a network for you, or at least, hey, can you give me a quote? Can you give me, I wanted to use you as a reference in a packet for some others. Would you mind doing that? Because I really appreciate, as we're kind of getting the company or the organization started, really appreciate you supporting small business. We're really looking to scale and get larger. Would you like to be part of that? I mean, that makes other people feel good too. I think people generally are benevolent. They want to help. They want to be part of that success, especially if they like what you're doing, they'll tell everybody. Continuing to add value for that person, they will be an amazing advocate. And then you'll feel less like you're providing them value. It's not so desperately needed. So keeping that relationship, again, some of the clients that we first started with and are, I'm in a much different industry, so the names are a lot larger and it makes little sense. They were very happy to be advocates for us. And it was great because we had big names behind us, but they said, like, why did you go with these guys? Like, they're so small. And they said, yeah, but you should see what they can do. Showing that value, that'll get you into $1 million doors for you not to have to be dependent on one either stream of revenue, one large client, or one smaller client because you're just trying to keep the lights on.
any more questions in here?
Do you have any quick recommendations about negotiation or any other recommendations to help?
So everybody has a very different feel for this. So I used to speak on Clubhouse. I don't know, I'm not on it anymore, but Maury, I love speaking with her. She's really good. She wrote, I will give you her information. She wrote a good book. She's also a professor. But like Chris Voss and his, like, you have to find your style and then figure out which negotiator kind of resonates with you. I love listening to FBI and hostage negotiators because that is about as tense as it gets. Like if they can walk out, and I've heard a lot of them speak, they're like, if we get everybody out alive, we're feeling pretty good. Like the stakes are not that high for me. Everybody will live. So starting to listen to even podcast on those guys, I can give you some things and I will definitely send some references. You'll start to feel, okay, that is not my style. I don't negotiate like Voss. I don't like it. I'm way more of a relationship seller. I want to be part of the conversation. I want everybody to be happy, even though I know some of them we're not, we're going to duke it out, but I'm prepared for those. So I found the one that worked for me. Maury, I really like, and she's very relatable. So I can give you her information.
Whenever you first started negotiating and more just kind of like being your own boss, did you ever feel, I don't know, maybe uncomfortable at first with having to be assertive and stern at times? Because I know for me, like, since I'm like a student leader, sometimes I have to kind of like not sugarcoat it. I just kind of be right to the point, and then I feel a little bad afterwards. And I'm sure that's something like you'll have to deal with pretty often.
Yes. So feel bad privately. But publicly, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to make unpopular decisions. You're going to have conversations that not everybody loves. But making those decisions, not just for you, but for your business, you're looking out for the entire company, not one person. You're making a decision not for today or tomorrow, but for years from now. And it's not going to be amazingly popular, but they might not see where you're going. Sometimes giving them a little more information for why you made the decision, not all of the secret recipe, because then there's way more questions on occasion, depending on the decision. But knowing, hey, I did this because you guys might not have seen the 3 steps that lead us here. Let me tell you why. It gets them more comfortable. But yeah, you're gonna have to do things that make you feel bad. If you feel dirty, you've made the wrong decision. That is a different, I mean, when you come out, you can say, I feel like I just made a deal with the devil. This was bad. Fall on the sword. And I made, same as I made a mistake. I don't think this was the best path for us, but here's what I'm gonna do to fix it. But yeah, you will feel not amazing sometimes. Like I made a decision that hurt some people. I had to let some people go. I had to reduce salaries because we're all suffering. But hey, here's the positives to this. Here's why we're continuing to work together as a team. Here's what, add the value there. Yeah, then go quietly and feel. But feeling bad in public, it definitely hurts everybody else around you because my son plays sports. It's the best example. He's the goalie. He flips out every time a goal gets in the net. That's everybody's job out there, is to score on the goalie. When he gets upset, his entire team loses confidence in his ability to be successful for the next one that comes to him. When you start to feel like you're upset, you're worried, I'm concerned, I'm second guessing myself, did I do the right, the waffle? They'll see that. And now they've started to lose confidence in you as a leader. You don't want that.
Thank you. So
That was a
Christina,
lot.
on do you have any books that you can recommend?
So I can definitely send some to you guys to get them on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I just have one question. I'm a licensed therapist practicing in mental health, and so I work with a lot of different insurance companies. And I'm just wondering what your thought is about negotiating fees with them.
I mean, not my area of expertise. I do negotiate with insurance, I feel like a lot, way more than I would prefer. I mean, I know they have limits, but yeah, I would absolutely, you don't ask, you don't get, as they say. So not asking the question means absolutely nothing is going to change. You have nothing to lose by having a conversation, nothing, only something to gain. They're not going to increase, or they're not going to let you pay you less. That's very low likelihood of happening. So pushing and asking for that, I think, is absolutely important for you to do. And again, we talked about even just raising a rate and kind of setting the stage for the conversation. We'll probably keep having a different rep to talk to, but put it on your calendar. Every year I'm going to have this conversation. Sorry, I need to have it. I need to revisit this. Who's my contact? But the worst they can say is no. But they'll probably say yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Do you think building a relationship and rapport will make negotiation easier?
1000%. Every time. Every time. Because even if it's things that you don't want to deliver, but you need to, the other side will work with you to get through it. I mean, there are definitely things that you just don't want to do, but you have to in the course of business. Like I can think of projects that we've taken because we just really had to do it. Things that we've also done because we know, or we did with clients, they didn't want us to do it, but we know they needed it. Having the relationship to be able to say, hey, look, I know you don't want to do this, but we're gonna have to. They'll let you do things like that because now they trust you as an advisor. It's a relationship. You're not just a cold party, come in and they give them stuff and walk away. But it helps, I mean, with everything, with day-to-day delivery, with negotiating rates, duration of a contract, add-on contracts, you name it. Having that close, and if there's a mistake, it's all about people. When there's a problem, if they don't know you, I got 10 other people just like you. I don't need to keep you. But if they know you, it makes it a lot harder.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Johanna. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Devin, I hate to put you on the hot seat, but can you pop on and talk a little bit about Tech Fort Worth as the Center for Women Entrepreneurs doing the educational partnership? Can you pop on?
Of course, of course. Thank you. And also thank you so much. That was a wonderful learning lesson. I learned so much. I am Devin Goodman. I'm from Tech Fort Worth, and I'm an engagement manager, and we have a wonderful partnership, educational partnership with TWU, Center for Women Entrepreneurs. We have on March 8th a Women and Wealth conference. It's completely virtual, and everybody from anywhere can attend. And we have 2 keynote speakers. Health is Wealth, starting us out in the morning and afternoon, women investing and investing. And in between that, we have 6 breakout sessions for the entrepreneur and the investor with topics such as how to make your marketing budget make you money, along with, for the investor track, the relationship between the investor and the actual person, the founder, CEO. I've provided some links in the chat, but you can just go to techfortworth.org to also access the information. Did I do well, Donalise?
That was perfect, perfection.
Okay.
That was way different than our video experience. So thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
Send book recommendations the next days.
Well, we have something for you. They're getting heavier.
Thank you, guys. So if
Okay.
anybody has questions or follow-ups, or, feel free, you guys have my information, and I actually brought cards.
Okay,
Perfect. I have a QR code, but.
So we have a couple more things before we release our online audience to do their virtual networking. So just a couple of things. We'd like to say thank you to Christina from startlingballoons.com. She provided a balloon garland here for us today. So we're so grateful for that. And then we also want to say thank you to Veronica Powell from the Cookie Crave for providing cookies this morning. So we can't wait to dive into those. And then also Flower Garden 118 for our beautiful peace lily. We do have several events that are coming up. So Devin talked about the Tech Fort Worth Women in Wealth, which is March 8th. And then Kimberly's going to throw a flyer into the chat. So our WomenRISE is March 14th, and we actually have our very own Tracy Irby is coming in, and she's going to talk to you about the basics of grant writing. So that will hopefully help a lot of people as we launch our Veteran Women's Grant and our Start Her Grant this year. Save the dates. We have some March Madness going on. March 25th is our first Saturday workshop, Position for Profit, how to use information about your dream client to sell more of your products or services. This is with Brianna with Brands by Bree. After this workshop, you'll walk away with an ideal customer avatar profile and specific marketing prompts that you can use to connect with them. So you'll actually walk away with some tangible things to get started. And then March 29th and 30th is our free headshot event for women entrepreneurs up here at the Denton campus. On the 29th, which is a Wednesday, it'll be from 2 to 7. And on the 30th, it will be from 9 to 2. And so that registration will open up just a couple weeks before that. And I think that's all we've got, Kimberly. So thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate it. Let me stop sharing and stop recording.